The amount of racism, especially state-sponsored racism and discrimination, Kurds face in the Middle East is unmatched. From the ban of language and culture, to the denial of basic civil rights, to the fear of Kurdish jinns, everything comes together to oppress the Kurds. In Turkey, for example, Kurdish existence had been denied for almost 80 years. Kurds were called Mountain Turks, their language was banned, they were and are being murdered. Here you can see Turkish soldiers forcing Kurdish kids to write, "Happy are those who call themselves Turk." Turkey's racism has a simple reason. By acknowledging the Kurds, Ankara would have to acknowledge that the Ottoman Empire had a Kurdish history too. It would take away the lone mighty Turk myth that feeds the country's megalomania whenever needed inside and outside. Even the change from the Arabic script to the Latin script helped Turkey in its racism. Most Turks today cannot read Ottoman literature and thus don't know anything about their own history, or that, for example, this Ottoman map clearly depicts Kurdistan, the land of the Kurds. Just like Turkey, Iran does not allow Kurds to study in their mother tongue. Thus, the state's racism makes it harder to get an education. And again, as in Turkey, you can see bannings of Kurdish clothes in Iran. While Kurds make up around 12 to 16% of Iran's population, 50% of the country's political prisoners are Kurds, according to the United Nations. Tehran's racism goes even further. A disproportionately high number of executions are carried out on Kurds in the country. Khomeini, the political and religious leader of the 1979 Islamic Revolution, believed Kurds were jinns, spirit-like beings created by God, just like humans. Although jinns have free will and can be good or less good, Iran used the legend to convince the people that Kurds are not humans and must be killed. The jinn myth is widely believed by many in the Middle East, including and especially in the Arab world. Iraq's and Syria's racism towards Kurds has been constant since these two countries were created by European colonial powers, but became especially brutal with the rise of the Baathism. Many know the largest genocide ever carried out against Kurds was the Anfal of Iraq, or that Syria stripped the Kurds of their citizenship, thus banning them from almost anything. But even today, Arab racism continues. In 2017, Kirkuk's police chief was not allowed to speak in Kurdish. In an interview, Tunisian-Algerian author Kamel Rihahi said, "We still curse each other using 'you're Jewish' or 'you're Kurdish.' This is also racial and religious discrimination." The Arab world loves to mix their anti-Semitism with their anti-Kurdistanism, as seen here in Basra. International media has a big part in passively supporting this racism, avoiding the term Kurdistan, a constitutional name in Iraq, and instead using the old Baathist political term Northern Iraq. To this day, all parts of the Kurdish region suffer from a lack of infrastructure. Each of the countries refuses to expand infrastructure in Kurdish areas, in order to keep them as small, weak, and therefore controllable as possible. Cities like Hawrir or Erbil are planned in such a way that they are easier to siege. Northern Syria, or Rojava, is the main agricultural region for Syria. However, the Assad government never considered expanding infrastructures such as road, hospitals, schools, homes, and more. All this racism comes from the mentioned countries: Syria, Iraq, Iran, and Turkey.